Hello, greeting to all. In Pedagogy of English, today we will discuss about the topic from translation to collaboration in language learning. The oldest method of teaching English was known as translation method. So here what is meant by a translation method? In translation method, especially in India, so we are going to we are going to take the support of other language to translate from one language into another language. So here in India, from ancient, we are using old method, which is nothing but a translation method. In translation method, what is going to take place? Translation of that foreign language into our mother tongue. So that's why it is easy for, at that time it was easy for both a teacher and also taught, means that students. So in teaching of English, there has been much improvement during this century. In this century, much improvement is there in teaching learning process of English. The recent development is collaboration in language learning given by constructivist. Do you know what is the meaning of collaboration? The action of working with someone to produce something is called as collaboration. Means that you are going to act with someone. So you are going to act with someone for what purpose? To produce something. So work is going to take place in a group manner. So that's why it is called as collaboration. Next, the translation method instructs students in grammar and also provides vocabulary with direct translations to memorize. It was the predominant method in Europe in the 19th century. Most instructors now acknowledge that this method is ineffective by itself. It is now most commonly used in the traditional instruction of the classical languages. The translation method is going to instruct students whatever a grammar is there, whatever vocabulary is there, so that grammar and vocabulary is going to be directly translated into their language, so that they can able to memorize the grammar, they can able to memorize the vocabulary, but they are not going to understand what is grammar, and they don't know how to use vocabulary in their real life situation. So that's why the translation method was the predominant method in Europe in 19th century. So now most of the instructors acknowledged that, identified that this method is not useful in teaching learning of English. That's why only some classical, means a traditional instruction only, in traditional schools only. So this method is using by the teachers. At school, the teaching of grammar consists of a process of training in the rules of language, which makes it possible to all the students to correctly express their opinion, to understand the remarks which are addressed to them, and to analyze the text which they read. At school, so whatever a grammar teacher is going to teach inside the classroom, teacher is going to give training in understanding rules of the language. Yes or no? So by using rules of the language only, they are going to understand, they are going to analyze whatever they are going to read. The objective is that by the time they leave college, the pupil controls the tools of the language, which are the vocabulary, grammar, and also orthography. So here when students are going to learn a grammar, vocabulary at school, by concentrating on the rules of the language, of course they are going to have language, they are going to have vocabulary, they are going to have a grammar, and they are going to have orthography. Orthography means what? The conventionally spelling system of a language. Spelling system of language is called as orthography. So these all are going to be understood in a well manner. Next, the teaching of grammar examines texts and develops the awareness that language constitute a system which can be analyzed. So when you examine whatever a grammar is available by the teaching of the grammar, you are going to understand what system is there in the language, what system is there in the grammar. Yes or no? And you can analyze the grammar, you can analyze the system of the language. So here, this knowledge, whatever knowledge is with you about vocabulary, about grammar, about orthography, so this knowledge is acquired gradually by traversing. Traversing means understanding thoroughly, completely the fact of the language, and also syntactic mechanism. Syntactic mechanisms going from simplest to the most complex. So here syntactic mechanism means what? Breakdown of sentences into small parts. Understanding of the sentence is not going to be possible when you are going to concentrate on whole sentence. When you are going to divide that whole sentence into small parts, so then only you are going to understand meaning of the sentence in a complete manner. So here breakdown of sentences into small parts is called as syntactic mechanisms. So by using the syntactic mechanism, you can able to change those complex sentences into simple area. So the exercises according to the program of the course must be practiced to allow the assimilation of the rules stated in the course. Whatever language you are learning, so what for the purpose of learning any languages, what are going to play an important role? Exercises. Even in learning of English also, exercises are going to play an important role. So when students are going to do the practice of exercises, then automatically whatever rules are stated in the language, so those rules can be assimilated by the learner in easy manner. So here when student is going to participate in activities, so their teacher can able to do the correction of the exercises, whatever exercises are going to be complete by the students. The pupil can follow his progress in practicing the language by comparing his results. So thus can he adapt the grammatical rules and control little by little the internal logic of the syntactic system. Syntactic system means what? Structure of the sentence. So the grammatical analysis of sentence constitute the objective of the teaching grammar at the school. When in sentence formation, what is going to play an important role? Grammar is going to play an important role. So teaching of the grammar should be based on sentence itself only. So when you are having an ability to form sentence, it is nothing but you have a grammar. Even though you have a grammar, if you don't know how to form a sentence, then there is no grammar with you. Next year, its practice makes it possible to recognize text as a coherent whole and conditions the training of a foreign language. So the training of the foreign language is going to depends upon practice of the language. So when you do the practice of the language in a coherent manner, then it is going to play an important role. Next here grammatical terminology serves this objective. Grammar makes it possible for each one to understand how mother tongue functions in order to give him the capacity to communicate its thought. So here grammar is going to makes it possible to understand the language. So when you understand the language, when you are going to understand functions of the language, then it will useful to communicate with people. So here Now we will discuss about collaborative or cooperative learning. Constructing knowledge together is the recent development in learning a language. Collaborative learning requires working together towards a common goal. Constructing knowledge together means that whatever knowledge there is construction of knowledge is there, so that knowledge construction should be in a together manner. So it is a recent development. So this constructing knowledge together is going to play an important role learning of any language. So this type of learning has been called by various names, because the various names are there for this type of learning. What are they? Cooperative learning, collaborative learning, collective learning, learning communities, peer teaching, peer learning, team learning. So these all are the different names of collaborative learning. What they have in common is that they all incorporate group work, means that group work is going to play important role in collaborative learning. However, collaboration is more than cooperation. So collaboration is more than cooperation. So here collaboration entails the whole process of learning. So in collaboration, what is going to take place? Learning is going to take place in whole process manner. So this may include students teaching one another, students teaching the teacher, and of course the teacher teaching the students too. So these all are going to play an important role. So more importantly, it means that students are responsible for one another's learning as well as their own, and that reaching the goal implies that students have helped each other to understand and learn. You are learning, it is not your responsibility. You are learning, at the same time you are giving support to another student to learn something, because in collaborative learning students are going to sit together in learning. So that's why learning of anything is going to depends upon not an individual, it is going to depends upon group. On the other hand, cooperative learning is a process meant to facilitate the accomplishment of a specific and end product or goal through people working together in groups. So here cooperative learning is nothing but it is a process of providing facilities. So when you provide facilities for the purpose of learning something, so there people are going to participate together in learning and they are going to learn something in group. So collaborative learning is aimed at getting the students to take almost full responsibility for working together, building knowledge together, changing and evolving together, and of course improving together. In collaborative learning, what is going to take place? Student is going to take almost full responsibility for working together. Next, so there student is going to build knowledge together, not in an individual manner. That student is going to build knowledge in a together manner, and that student is going to improve not only individual in also in a group manner. The basis of both collaborative and cooperative learning is constructivism. Constructivism means what? Learning of the knowledge in a complete manner. For the purpose of learning of anything, learning of the language in a constructive manner, what is going to play an important role? Formation of anything in a complete sense manner. So here knowledge is constructed and transformed by the student. Here teacher is not going to construct knowledge. Student is going to construct and student is going to transform knowledge. The learning process must be understood as something a learner does by activating already existent cognitive structures or by constructing new cognitive structures that accommodate new input. Learners do not passively receive knowledge from the teacher. Teaching becomes a transaction between all the stakeholders in the constructing knowledge together. Here, in collaborative learning, learners are not going to receive knowledge in a passive manner, because so here teaching is going to take place in a transaction manner between teacher and student, means that those who are participating in teaching and learning, so their transaction of knowledge is going to take place. That too, transaction of the knowledge is going to take place by constructing knowledge in a together manner, not in an individual manner. In a group manner, knowledge is going to be constructed by the members of the groups. Next, collaborative learning shifts the responsibility for learning to the students in the role of researcher and self-directed learner. So here teacher is not going to play a key role, student is going to play key role. Student is nothing but is a researcher and also is a self-directed learner. In order to work together towards a collaborative learning approach, the teacher must fully understand their students' preferred learning styles and their own conceptions of learning. How students are going to understand what are the learning styles of the students, these all are going to be understood by the teacher. Then only teacher can able to use collaborative learning mechanism inside the classroom. So this is about from translation to collaboration in language learning. Thank you.